Welcome back inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. Ohio State just finished up its fourth of four open practices to start preseason camp. We were here once again today to get to watch the fourth practice of August. Andy, what were the biggest things that stood out to you today?
I think for me, just player-wise, Jermaine Mathews had a great day. Had a great pass breakup against Jeremiah Smith in some 7-on-7. In team, he had a pick six off of Julian Sayin. Also, though, I think the probably most of interest to Ohio State fans, everyone's locked in on the quarterback competition right now. Seems like Will Howard took almost all of the first team reps. Really, the only first team rep we saw that Julian Sayin got, that someone other than Will Howard got, was Julian Sayin when he threw the pick six to Jermaine. So that, I think, is probably the things that would stand out most to fans. For me, I thought the biggest standout player was either Jermaine Mathews or Brandon Inniss, who had, I thought, a really good day catching the ball.
Yeah, I think we're going to come out of these 4 days feeling like Will Howard's going to be the starting quarterback of this Ohio State team. Yeah. I think, where we were coming in, where we felt like, maybe Devin Brown still had a pretty good chance. I don't think we've seen what we would have needed to see from Devin to really feel like he's made that push. I think he was better the first couple of days of practice than what we saw the last couple of days. I thought Julian probably had his worst of the 4 practices on Sunday. Now, those two guys, we've certainly seen both of them flash plenty these first 4 days, and I think having both of those guys as likely backups to Will Howard is certainly a good position to be in if you're Ohio State. But I do think the last 3 days, Will's looked like the guy. He's been the most in command. I don't know if we saw anything really special from him on Sunday. Not a whole lot of deep throws. Really, in general, a lot of checkdowns and short passes on Sunday. But I just think in terms of his command of the offense, in terms of his making reads, progressing through plays, I think he's the guy who's doing that the best on a consistent basis. And the fact that we saw him take pretty much every first-team rep today, I think that tells you where this competition is leaning. I think Ohio State started preseason camp maybe not wanting to drop any hints about who would be leading that competition, but I think by the end of the weekend you can kind of see, okay, Will's that front runner for the position now, and if he can continue to build off of what he's done in these first 4 days, he's going to be the starting quarterback of his team.
Right, and to your point, Dan, it's not the arm talent things where Will Howard stood out the most to me. It was that command of the offense, looking through progressions. We saw multiple plays today where he was able to look through 2-3 different reads and then chuck it down to that third or fourth guy. He had a real nice throw to Jeremiah Smith, I thought, coming out of across the field. Jeremiah was fairly open on the play, but Will looked off the coverage. Either that or it was a progression. It's kind of hard to tell the difference sometimes. But he looked off the coverage and just delivered a nice, clean throw there. Those things I think are where he's separated. I thought what else was interesting in terms of who got first team reps was what some of the shuffles we saw on the offensive line. Today felt like kind of a rest day for some veteran guys. Ohio State, Donovan Jackson really didn't participate in team drills or pass rush one-on-ones, so Austin Saravel took his place at left guard with the first team line. But other than that, you had your usual 3 of Josh Simmons at left tackle, Josh Fryar at right tackle, Seth McLaughlin at center. Right guard was Tegra Shabola, so I think that is a good indicator for him, and he took a lot of first-team reps with that offensive line today. The other line we saw that was interesting, saw, again, the same 2 tackles, but then you had at left guard, it was Seth McLaughlin, which I think is the first time we've really seen him play guard this preseason. Then center Luke Montgomery, who we've seen taking reps there in the past, but he mixed in with some of that different line today, and at right guard it was Carson Hinsman. So Ohio State clearly toying with different interior combinations, trying to find the best thing that works. I think based on reps, Tegra Shabola got the most with the first team as far as battling for that right guard spot, but it was interesting to see them mix things up today and actually see Seth McLaughlin at guard.
Yeah, it's interesting because it feels like we've seen Luke take more and more reps at center every day, and so it definitely seems to be something they're looking at. Again, not that Luke's going to be the starting center this year, but looking at him as a potential backup at that spot. I think Carson Hinsman took all of his reps at right guard today. Now, I would still lean toward Carson Hinsman being the starting center, or backup center, regardless of who starts at right guard. If he starts at right guard, then I think he would still probably be the guy that slides over to center if something happened to Seth. But it does feel like, Seth's well in position to be that starting center right now. I'm still kind of 50-50 on a right guard battle. Like, we've seen those guys. Like, we saw Tegra get more reps today, but I think we saw Hinsman get more reps yesterday. So I don't have a great read on that one yet. I think, watching those guys in the one-on-ones, I thought they both had maybe good but not great days, I would say. Tegra won some reps, lost some reps. Same thing with Hinsman. I did really like what I saw from the tackles and from Seth in the one-on-ones today. I thought Josh Simmons, the past couple of days, has looked really good. I've seen him win several reps against both JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer, and those guys are pretty good. So if you're winning the most of your one-on-one reps against those guys, you're doing something right. I think Josh Fryar has looked good as well. I saw him get some wins against Jack Sawyer in those one-on-ones today. And then Seth McLaughlin, he's been pretty dominant in those pass rush one-on-ones. And so I think we're seeing some encouraging signs from the offensive line. It's not quite there yet. They still got a hole they got to fill up front. But I think we're seeing some encouraging progress these first 4 days that if Ohio State can build on it, we talked about it with quarterback. Like, I come out of these first 4 days feeling better about both Will Howard and the offensive line than I did coming in. That doesn't mean I don't have any questions. I still think they're the two biggest question marks on the team, but I feel better after 4 days than I did before camp started.
Right, I think that's where I'm at. I do want to talk about defense, too, a little bit. In those pass rush one-on-ones, I thought, for me, the biggest standout, and I was mainly focused on the team portion of that period because they had some 7-on-7 stuff going on that field, and then it was pass rush one-on-ones on the other. But what I saw, Kenyatta Jackson Jr. dominated a couple reps, came right off the edge on one of them, had a nice spin move on another, and I think between him, what Jermaine did today, what we saw from Calvin Simpson Hunt in the past, and he made another interception today, the depth of this defense continues to impress. Just how deep they are, and overall, I feel like the defense kind of won today in a lot of ways when they went full team. A lot of checkdowns from the quarterbacks, a lot of sacks, turnovers. Like the defense was making a lot of plays out there. Notwithstanding, there was a touchdown pass to Brandon Inniss right at the end, but the defense and the depth of the defense, particularly today with guys like Jermaine Mathews Jr. and Kenyatta Jackson Jr., has been one of the most impressive things for me over these first few days of camp.
Another guy in defense who just keeps standing out to me is Sonny Styles. He looks really comfortable about Will linebacker spot. We talked about it after day one. Maybe Sonny looking like the front runner for day one. I pump the brakes on that a little bit. After 4 days, I feel more comfortable saying I think Sonny's the front runner to start at Will linebacker. We've seen him take the vast majority, I would say, of reps of a first-team defense at that Will linebacker spot, and he's looked really good. I think both against the run and in coverage. He doesn't look like a guy who's learning to play linebacker. He looks like a linebacker, like somebody who's very comfortable in that role. And so I think right now, if I was setting a depth chart projection, I would pencil in Sonny Styles as that starting Will linebacker. And based on what we've seen so far in camp, I think he has a chance to be a really, really good Will linebacker.
Yeah, I think so too. The linebackers in general played well today. Arvell Reese had a couple nice plays out there, particularly in coverage on a wheel route there in the middle of practice. And he also set up Peyton Pierce to make a tackle for loss during one running play. So Gabe Powers continues to stand out, I think. And we've got a good sense now of that linebacker room and where it kind of stands, I think. Seeing so many first-team reps from Sonny, seeing some of these depth guys step up, I think, linebacker in this defense, you feel like the defensive line, the secondary is going to be elite, and you felt good about the linebackers entering fall camp, but can they elevate to that kind of status where the secondary and D-line have the hype entering this year, and I think have shown in a lot of places in these first few days of fall camp.
Well, today was the final practice that was open to fans. We are expecting to get to watch another practice as media members on Thursday, so we will be back for more takeaways from that. Lots of interviews coming up this week as well at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, and everybody's favorite day on Monday, the infamous hotel check-in day. We will be out there as well to get you some pictures and video of the Buckeyes dressed down walking into their hotel where they'll spend the next couple of weeks for camp. So stay tuned with us at 11warriors.com, 11 Warriors YouTube channel for all of that. Thanks for joining us for these first 4 days of camp coverage, and we'll talk to you again soon.